team. I'd like to say a very big thank you to you, sir, for granting us the opportunity of this interview. Um, I'd like you to share with us what's on your mind as you prepare for your birthday. What are the things that playing up in your mind?
I'm just overwhelmed. Seriously, I'm completely, totally overwhelmed by the show of love that's been exhibited by different groups that I least expected. So, right now, all I feel is that all of these activities will be pulled through successfully. Um, that God will help me thank those who are showing so much love and spending their money and their time, and it's when people show you that they love you that much. I don't know. I mean, many people have celebrated their 80th birthday. Many more are going to celebrate. This is actually I've, I'm a bit experienced and I've seen things, but this one really touches. It really touches a part of my heart. So I'm just praying that everything goes well. People are traveling from different parts of the world uh, at such a difficult time as this. When you even look at airfares, you know, uh, I don't know. It's too much. It's too much. So I mean, I don't know.
Because the milestone age that you're looking, it's something that I know you must have been looking at years back. But what was your own idea of how you planned to mark it?
To be honest, like the say, age is in the mind. I really never. I don't think that there was a time that I really sat back and say, "Oh, Biodun, you're going to be 80. So what are you?" I didn't. I think it. Maybe I should say that it came as a thief in the night. Suddenly, it's also 80. Um, those who know me very well know that I enjoy celebrating my birthdays, whether it's landmark or not. It's something. I think because it is close to Christmas, just a day before Christmas. So as far as I can remember, I've always had celebrated my birthday with my friends and family in the house. This would always be there. But when I turned 50, I was telling, uh, I think, some members of my family, my immediate family, that, if they could remember, and my children, I think they were young, so they really couldn't, and they were not, some of them were not here. The last time that I really can say I celebrated my birthday as a landmark birthday was when I turned 40. Um, and there were landmarks as well. Uh, because if I remember correctly, that was when I built my first house. My first house was built when I turned 40. So it was, for me, it was a landmark, as it were. Young people were struggling and working hard and all that. And then, you're also being pushed by family members. I remember my late auntie who kept saying, you have to have a house, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and after that, when I turned 50, I also had, I marked my birthday. We went to church. From church, we came home for some kind of breakfast. And then at night, that same night, all of this happened at home. We also had, continuation of the celebration. Since then, there hasn't been any landmark birthdays because my other landmark birthdays, when I turned 60, it was done in the United States. It was done by family for me. In fact, I was ambushed. I didn't know that they had planned the birthday. So we had a very nice birthday party in Tampa, in Florida. When I turned 70, the same thing happened. But this time it was like in a resort, again in Florida. And it was strictly for family and very close friends. Again, it was taken out. I had nothing to do with it. All I needed to do was just show up. And they just spoilt me, and it was very nice. Now, this one, I said to myself, 80 now. You've become an old man. So what would you, so it started off with the family, my immediate family. They were talking and trying to plan things and all that. And they said, Daddy, don't worry, we're going to do this birthday for me. At some point in time, I then said to them, look, you know something? It's going to be my 80th birthday. And we don't have to begin to delude ourselves. After 80, your next landmark birthday will be 90. You will have become a very old man. So you really can't do much for yourself at that stage. You could still be in good health, but your body would tell you you're a very old man at 90. So I said, you know what? Let's do it together. I also want to participate in it. So I thought I needed to give myself. What else? I've worked hard. I've done everything. Let me also be part of. So in the sense that I can also direct how I want the day to go, that kind of a thing. And they indulged me. Well, I don't think they had much of a chance anyway. So, and then I made my own suggestions. This is what I'd like. That's what I would have liked to see. All those kind of things. So we're working together. So the family, the family aspect, that is the one that the family would put together on my birthday, and they're still working at it. Dotting the i's and crossing the t's, so that it comes out in the manner that would make me happy. And I think that they are indulging me to, you know, again, typical me. I am old school when it comes to certain things, understandably. You'll find that it will still be my friends of wherever that will be there. I'm very poor at making new friends. So I don't have too many friends. There are people that I've known for 40 years, 50 years. I have a couple of new aburos, that I've known in the past 30 years as well. So it's not kind of people that you see. I'm not a government person. I'm not so. People shouldn't be surprised if they come there and they don't find government people. Because that's not who I am. I'm just a private individual, live my life very modestly, and that's that. So that's what I'm looking to see. We'll do church, we'll do a reception. I'm a church person. I'm a Bible believing Christian. So I think everything will be in moderation, which is a reflection of my life. So that's what.
Yeah, truth be told, sir, you don't look 80. And I've always cracked my head about the secret. I'm like, that's going to be the first question I'm even going to ask you, sir. How have you kept looking this way? And
My younger bros pull my legs these days. They say I should come and tell them the secret. I should give them the secret. I think it is God's grace. I was telling a senior more of mine, just asking him. In fact, yesterday after church, I wanted to be sure that. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't want to invite people who, because of their commitments, will not be able to come. So I would have wasted the card. So that card I could very well give to another person. So I'm trying very hard to ensure that anybody that I invite will be available to attend. So it was in that context that I asked him, will you be around during Christmas? And then he said, why did I ask? I said, because I'd like to invite you to my 80th birthday. And he stopped. And he said, what do you mean 80th birthday? You know, and so I told him, well, I was going to 80. And he said, don't look in your 60s. And that's the kind of feedback that a lot of people have. Um, I remember when I told Chief Emeka Kutu, I was asking him whether I was going to be around. That was, I told him, I told him where I was. He asked me why I was asking, and I told him, and it was the same reaction. Biodun, no, don't tell me you're going to meet him. So it's God's grace. It's God's grace. It's uh, if anybody thinks that there's what's that thing that Yorubas use? There's some concoction that Yoruba was you uh, really, within the flashback memory. There's no such thing. I think it's I think it's a couple of things.
Okay.
They're just basic common sense things. Aside the grace of God. First is that you must learn to do things in moderation.
Okay.
I've always done that. Whether as a young man, partying, or what we want to call over partying, um, overeating, know when to sleep. You must sleep for X number of hours. Those who know me know that every day, not just from now, um, even in the days in which I really used to work, I must catch a minimum of 7 hours every day. Every day. Minimum. I said minimum. So I sleep early and I wake early. In the past 20 years, for example, at 8 o'clock I'm in my bed. Every day. 8 o'clock I'm in my bed. I would listen, watch the television news from my bed, and I probably will sleep from there. I also do not joke with my exercises. Every day, every day I would walk, fast walk for 1.5 hours. Every day, Monday to Saturday. The only exception being Sundays. I do that religiously. Do my walk, do my stretches, do whatever it is. I look after my health. Um, Everybody would have one health issue or the other. I have my doctors that I see here. Asked at when I should see them. Once my body talks to me, I know when to see my doctor. And more often than not, I would also get a second opinion outside of the country every year. Once every year, I do my medical checkup, both here in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, to be sure that everything is fine. Um, so, those would be just basic common sense things. You know, look after yourself properly. When your body talks to you, um, then listen to it. Do things in moderation. Eat moderately. Get proper sleep. Do proper do your health check. Do plenty of exercises and drink plenty of water. Drink plenty of water every day. Those are the things that I do. And they seem to work. They seem to work. Yes. Yes.
Yes, everyone knows you have to pray.
very highly peaceful person. How did you develop that habit? I think one's upbringing can never really be taken away from these things. See, you can be influenced by the way your parents behave. Um, Unfortunately, my father didn't live long with us, but as a young child, I noticed that about my father. It seems that my father died at 49. As a young child, and first child of family, I observed that my father was a very peaceful person. His yes was his yes. He didn't shy away from telling the truth. Um, and he was a very passionate person about anything. He worked for the railways. He was very passionate about the things that he did. And maybe those things are Shobanjo traits because I look at members of my larger family, that's the way they did it. They all tended to be my uncles, my aunties, very principled, very principled. They're yes. When they give you their word, they will do exactly what they told them. And I think that it's, and there are, you don't bend the rules for people. There isn't a set of rules for one set of people and a different set of people. So you find a consistency of that. And interestingly, I will tell you about the things that people are putting together. I'm getting the feedback, even though they're trying to hide this thing from me. And he said to me, take the females who had worked with us. And they said that they were telling some people, and I got a feedback that one of the things that, oh, by the one of the groups that was putting things together for me, uh, are female alumni, females who had worked with us and had left. Some of them are in America, some of them are in Europe. And they said, one of the things that we like about Mr. Shobanjo is that he didn't treat the women separately from the men. He saw everybody as, look, we are all colleagues here. And one set of rules is good for everybody. You know, I wouldn't bend the rules for the females, just as I wouldn't do it for the men. And that's me. That's the way I relate to people. I don't discriminate. I don't. I'm not interested in where people have come from. We are all Nigerians, and it explains why my wife is from Delta State. I didn't go looking for Yoruba. Deliberately go out to look for Yoruba woman. Two of my children are married to non-Yorubas. That's our life. That's what my children have also imbibed. That people are human beings. We are all human beings. So again, like I said, these are Shobanjo traits. If you will be that far afield, you find that the Shobanjos who are married to foreigners. Um, one of my junior brothers is married to a Spaniard, and it is because of this thing about human beings are the same. Rules should be the same. You do not bend rules for people. Um, my children who work in our business, for instance, enjoy no privileges, zero privileges, because they are my children. I mean, in one instance, they didn't even know that the guy working with them was my son because he doesn't have my complexion. So they probably saw him as maybe chairman's cousin or nephew or whatever. It took a long time for them to know that he was my son because he came in as any other person would come in. He went through the process, wrote the test, did the interview. I insisted that had to be because at that time he was not even in Nigeria. He was based in the United States. I said, if you guys have to employ him, if you want to, he has to go through the process. And I'd like to see the results. So no favoritism. There was a niece of mine while I was still working who wanted to work with us and come through the management traineeship program. She went through the process and she went through every stage. And at the end, the final stage, she was not employed. This little girl couldn't understand why she would not be employed in her uncle's company. And for 1 year, the girl would not talk to me. But it didn't matter. So, and I said, look, she needs to understand. I called for the results. And I showed her mother the results. I said, this is where your daughter, this was her position. We were only going to employ 20 people, and your daughter came 25th. I couldn't bend the rules for her. I, you know, there's a system that we have to follow. It was only after that that the girl started talking to me. She wouldn't talk to me for 1 year. But you see, we don't bend the rules for people. And that's why that's why we keep sustaining that business is 45, it's going to be 45 years old next January. So that's where I am. Say, I'm sorry.
Since you retired actively from business, what have you been?
So enjoying myself. I retired 20 years ago. So people don't even know. A lot of people don't. The last time I sat with any client in any of our businesses, and we have about 6 or 7 different businesses. I have not sat down with any client in the past 20 years to talk business. I can interact with them socially, but to talk business, not in the past 20 years. But that is not to say that I don't know what goes on in the business. I do. Sometimes they invite me to some meetings that happen online. I engage and I just advise and guide. Of course, I attend because I'm still a member of our board. I'm still the chairman. In fact, this last week we just finished a round of our board meetings. Okay. So my role is to guide and advise, but I'm not in an executive position.
At the
That
time,
ended 20 years ago.
at the time you retired 20 years ago, were you so worried that what would happen to the business when after retirement?
I was not worried at all because you see, you laid the foundation for this. From day one, I have always said, this is not a family business. I'm a shareholder. There are other shareholders. People that I employed became partners, and but I made clear so that those partners themselves do not go about giving the impression to their families that, oh, there's a family business here. No, 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 no. It's a business for Nigerians. Anybody can. The guys who are running the business today are Nigerians. None of my children runs any of the businesses, not one. If they have to earn it. They have to work. Well, thankfully, one of them has worked himself to the number 2 position in our marketing communication. But he's been there for 16 years or thereabout. And he was working in the business even before he joined us. He was working in advertising before he joined us from America. Um, so you have to earn your wings. I always tell my people, look, any wing we give you here, if you get a rank, the, the first thing is that I assure you can wear that wing anywhere in the world. In fact, chances that you even wear a higher rank. So that's the way it is. And because it is not a family business, we develop the talents from within, and they move up, and they take on leadership positions. When you go to all our businesses, all our companies, they are run by Nigerians who have earned their wings, and they have the passion for the business. They are top professionals. They understand the business. They are knowledgeable. I mean, we have people who have doctorate degrees working with us. We are the first Nigerian marketing communications company to have hired people with such level of education. And they're still there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
So if you have it's good people who make things happen. Our companies survive not because, oh, you started the company? It's because I understood the business. You understand what I'm saying? It's not because people you can have money and start a business and you collapse. You know, as I told you, I left 20 years ago. The businesses are running. In fact, they just told me. I just got a mail now telling me that the at the Life Awards, the after the industry here, Insight was adjudged the best agency of 2024. And I think they said they won 64 awards or something like that. Yesterday. And I led business 20 years ago. What for that prove you? I just saw the mail now. Insight was the advertising agency of the year 2024. That is an award that is organized and run by advertising practitioners. It's not so if your peers choose you as the best, it must mean that you're doing something right. 20 years after it. So what? In fact, that answers your question.
I was going to ask you that when you sit back like this and you look at trial holdings and the performances and the growth and all of things, how does it make you feel?
Very good. Oh, yeah. That may sound a little bit like I mean, look, some of the companies that even motivated someone like me to go into that profession, and where I was desperate, I wanted to work for those organizations. And I'm not saying this at all. Some of those businesses don't exist anymore. Understand that as at the time that I was trying to get into the advertising profession, advertising has been in this country for close to 60 years. Because as at the time that I joined, Lintas was about 60 years old. Those companies that were there, owned by foreigners, and subsequently that became owned by Nigerians, they were the toast of the industry at that time. They no longer exist. The Lintases, the Ogilvy Benson and Matters, the Admark, the Graham and Gillis, um, 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 Honeybrook, Cox Freeman, those companies don't exist. Those were the ones that people like us saw. We saw people working there. They motivated. We wanted to be like them. And I remember I used to go to the Lintas office almost on a weekly basis looking for an opening. Shaya, it would interest you to know that the inside that I started is now the oldest advertising agency in Nigeria. So how do you want me to feel? I must feel very good. And on top of that, because you talk about the businesses that if you add other businesses that we also went into, you may say by circumstances, and in fact, very strange circumstances, our group together today employs close to 22,000 people. So I must feel good about it because we're one of the largest employers of labor in this country. And I'm saying that if you add a security company, Aloji, all right, we employ about 22,000 people. That's a large number of people. So I really do feel good. I thank God for what He has enabled me to serve as arrowhead of. Because I think God just used me. It's not by anything. It's not because you are the most knowledgeable or you are the most no. It's God who empowers and enables people to achieve some of these feats. And I'm forever thankful to God. And that's why I feel that this 80th birthday should be celebrated. God has been extremely kind to me. Okay? I must tell you that. especially when you look at my circumstance. If my family lost a breadwinner at the age of 49, I was not even 13 at the time. The future was bleak. But see where we are today. God has been marvelous. He's been faithful. He's been incredible too. So anyone may say, but why is this guy, why is he doing all of this? I just have to thank God. I don't have, I mean, if I drop dead today, there's no regret. Seriously. God has done his will in my life.
So, 80, what has changed?
I I think priorities. Priorities. Once upon a time, um, before 7 o'clock, I would have headed out of my house, going to a place of work. That's about 60 years ago. What do I look forward to every week? To see my grandchildren come here every Sunday. That's priority for me now. My grandchildren, you know, every afternoon, my children and my grandchildren have a meet in this house to have lunch. So for me, that is priority. I look forward to once we come out of church. In fact, even the grandchildren attend their parents. When I go to grandpa's house, and they come and they're playing ball inside this city hall. What's wrong with this child? You're playing ball. You should. Yesterday I told them, I said, go and play your ball. But it's a totally different experience from the kind of relationship I had with their parents. You know, I told you I'm old school. I see my children the way they relate to their children. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I had related to my children like this. You know, softer, whatever. But all of that affection, I think I've planted them to my grandchildren. And we have an interesting time every Sunday when they come here. So uh, now you travel, when you travel, in those days you travel, you are beating the streets of London or Paris or whatever. Today you travel, just sit at home. What shopping do you want to go and do? To shop for what? So these days, even if you have to go out when you're on holidays and you take the grandchildren, the other day I said to them, you these children, have you gone on the underground before? And they're like, Grandpa, what's underground? So I said, let's go on. So we took a bus. I first took them with the bus, you know, had a bus ride to the train station. Then we went underground. So we came out. And one of them said, Grandpa, like underground, there's too much crowd in it. Because I just wanted them to begin to have the experiences of life themselves. So those are the kind of things that they catch my fancy now. Take these grandchildren out, Sometimes they come here, we go to the park and all these kind of things. Even when we travel, in fact, last week we went to a place called Central Park somewhere in the middle of uh, the UK, and they were just spent about 4 days there. No cars, just people walking, they were cycling and all that. It was very nice. We're in the middle of nowhere, but generally just winding down and enjoying yourself. Those are the kind of things. Those are the priorities that I enjoy now. For this birthday, my only child who lives overseas with her family, they're coming with their children, and those children are looking forward to. But one of them is going to be his first trip. I've been to Nigeria before. Um, the two other young ones have been, but they have no recollection. So everybody's looking forward to having, you know, the family gather together, stay under the same roof with the grandchildren with a lot of noise going on. I'm really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that. And at the end of it, I am not stupid enough not to know that I would have started my own countdown to my final destination. So even if I get my mother died at 99, I promised myself I'm going to be 100. But my grandfather, my two grandfathers, my maternal grandfather, they lived past 100. So um, I'm saying to myself, my mom died at 99, I should be able to make it to 100. And I hope indeed. But whatever it is, it's a countdown. 80 to 100 is a countdown. So you know you have 20 more years to go if you're in good health. But and you won't have the same strength and energy as you used to have. So I'm also very conscious of that. I'm not stupid enough not to understand that because that's reality of life. Everybody must go at some time, So I want to make the best of the remaining part of my life. Generally enjoying myself, my children, my grandchildren, my wife, family, friends, you know. And that's why every Tuesday I start to go to Metropolitan Club to go and meet friends there and have lunch. You know. So yeah, that's
And so I was going to ask you, how easy was it for you to adjust to the various changes in the business world? Um, of course, from your days, let me say your analog days to the current times that you're also very active online and all that.
I'm trying to I adjust to situations very, very quickly. That's number one. Number two, I am one person that has never, ever looked at Nigeria as my reference. The world, for me, I am a part of the world. I monitor what goes on in the world and I adjust quickly to what's going on. So that's why some of my age mates they don't know how to use the computer. I actually left my computer to come and meet you because I was working. You know, my banking transactions are all done online. Every year you have the world is changing and you have to be a part of the world. So and part of that is that you have to travel the world as well. I've been to everywhere in Europe. I've been to Russia. I've been to China. I've been to Japan. I've traveled. And I have also seen Africa. There are very few places in Africa that I haven't been to. Um, Even including going to South Africa when it was Nigerians were not allowed to go to South Africa. I was curious. I wanted to know what was going on in that part of the world. I remember, and I didn't know anybody in South Africa. I was attending a program in the UK, and there was one of our classmates was a white South African, and I really took this guy on. I remember many years ago, it was 1970, whatever it was, and I was giving this guy a hard time because South Africans were giving because at that time, before then, don't forget that when Obasanjo was there, they were taking part of our salary to support. So all of those things just rushed in my mind. I'm like, you are here sitting with us because I've been about 20 something of us attending that program at the time. And you guys are treating our brothers very badly in South Africa. So I was curious. And the guy was trying to explain that no, that wasn't the situation. Blah, blah. So I said, let me go and see things for myself. And I went to the embassy. The embassy is very near Trafalgar Square. It's still there. That's where the South African embassy is. And I said I wanted to go to South Africa. And they were like, I said I wanted to go and visit. I said, but you cannot stamp your visa in my passport because South Africans are not allowed to. Out of my curiosity, because I wanted to know. So they stamped my visa on a piece of paper. So long story short, I went to Johannesburg. My first trip was 1970, whatever it was. Back just to see what in the period in which I was there, nobody maltreated me. Nobody. So I'm like, maybe it's different. And ever since particularly we had working relationship with South Africa, our businesses. I mean, I used to go to South Africa almost once every 3 months in those days. So I'm just saying that part of knowledge is seeing the world. Okay. Um, so I've been everywhere as part of my readjustment, as part of my own education. Canada, the US, Latin America. As far back as 1981, I was in Brazil. So I'd seen a bit of. I think the only part I haven't been is Australia. You know, so maybe someday I'll go there. I never can tell. you know, but the point I'm trying to make is the thing about adjustment. I adjust very quickly. I adapt, and thankfully my children also help. The learning process. You'll be surprised how my grandchildren teach me some dance steps and all that. You know, again as part of the work. It would interest you to know that one of my favorite artists is Ashake. Last Christmas, I went to watch Ashake's concert. Would you believe that? I must have been the oldest person there, obviously. But I like Ashake's music. I like Davido's music. I like what's my friend's grandson. Um, what's the one? The biggest of the lot of them.
Whiskey.
No, no.
Bonamo.
Burna Boy. I love Burna Boy's music. His grandfather is my friend, Benson Idonije. We were colleagues in broadcasting. So I have a young mind. It would amaze you the kind of artist, the kind of music I listen to. Um, I'm not one of these stereotyped 80-year-olds. No, no, no. Um, so, and of course, my profession has also helped in that regard, in terms of what I like, what I do, you know, my lifestyle, you know. It's- I think we were at some meeting. I think it was this year, early this year, when I told them that I was at the hotel to watch Asake. They almost freaked out. They almost couldn't believe it. But I was there. You know, that's me. That's my life. Football. You know, weekends. Chances are that if I'm not out somewhere, I'm watching football.
It's a thing.
And I can watch football. In fact, so most times when my wife travels, on a Saturday, I come down here. When the game starts at 1 o'clock, I would not leave this place until the last game is played.
It's a favorite thing.
Saturday, Arsenal. I'm an Arsenal supporter, even though they probably will give you a heart attack. And there's usually some, well, my children, they know if Arsenal are Man U, they support Man U. They sit on that side and I sit here. And there's no discussion until the game ends. And of course, their own children they support their parents, of course. So I'm usually alone against, but it's fun. It's so much fun.
So you always been a man of style and tips of things that attitudes. How did you do it? Is it because of your job?
Well, my work, I think that my profession dictates that you make yourself very, very presentable. I am, I don't want to use the word fashionable. Um, I like to present myself in a very decent manner. I have, I think my tastes are very exquisite. We can put it that way. I know what I want. Um, so I think, and I also, because of who I am, you know, I'm a very loyal person, even if I have to say that. If you take my clothing, for instance, I'm not one of those who would go on a shopping spree and I just spend hours. Once I leave my house, I know which shop I'm going. The people there know me. So I go there, pick the thing I want, tell them for size, whatever, whatever. I'm done. My shirts, I know where I buy my shirts from. I know where I buy my suits from. I know where I buy my shoes from. Everything, including my undies. I know where I buy them from. I don't wear different type. It's the same thing that I can be very boring. I wear the same brand, the same make, the same, so it makes life easy for me. But you know, the taste is exquisite, just like I told you.
Yes. But looking at your shoes, very trendy. Sir.
I am. I'm a trendy person. I am. I'm sorry. I have apologies for that. That's where I am. That's where I am.
Any regrets in life?
Zero. Zero. The only thing I would have wished, the only thing I would have wished, and it's not a regret, that's being God. I would have wished that my father in particular, my mom's side, I would have wished that my father stayed much longer, particularly at that stage where I had started recording a bit of success, because I know he would have been so proud of me. The only problem is that maybe I may not have ended in this profession because he wanted me to be a lawyer. It was clear he wanted me to be a lawyer. So if I read law, I'm not sure I would have been after it. I'm not so sure. Because I have a son who is a lawyer. Um, he works at the stock exchange. He's managing director of one of the stock exchanges. But he's a lawyer. I mean, uh, if I read law, I know because of my, shall I say, my interest, I would have practiced law as a lawyer. I probably would have ended up as a senior advocate of Nigeria. Definitely. You know, because I always like to aim for the top. I aspire. Uh, sometimes I have a regret that, oh, I wish that my father had stayed much longer. I would have been able to look after him because he really loved me. But thankfully, I married my mom, who was there at 99, and I think she felt very proud of me as her son.
I know you're very passionate about Odogwu, and I'm wondering what role did Odogwu play in your life?
I am, if you know the whole local government, there are a couple of communities that are very close to each other. And so there are three towns in which I have connection with communities, the group itself. There's a place called Okinawa, there's a place called Ayegbe. My 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 great grandfather was from Udugulu, and he migrated to a place called, this is about, in those days it used to be about 3 but now they are almost, and also Ayegbe. My mom's family are from Ayegbe. My mom's family came from Ayegbe. Udugulu is at the center. There's Okawa, Udugulu, and Ayegbe. So my great grandfather migrated to Okawa and started his farm there. So we have links with, we have uncles and cousins and that. My mom, who is from Ayepin, she also has relations from Okawa. And I went to secondary school in Odogwu by accident, purely by accident. The only time I ever went to Odogwu was to go and do an entrance exam to the place because that's another story. Because I couldn't get to school in Lagos, not because I didn't pass the exam, but for some other reason, which I can talk about off record, but it's very sensitive. So the fact that I spent 6 years of my life in Odogu with the, and when I started, I actually lived in the palace because the Oba was my father's cousin. Okay, made me, if you like, the friends that I built as a young boy who was beginning to have an understanding were all in Liverpool. So I have a lot of sentimental attachment to people, apart from the fact that I have, you know, uh, bad connections with people. So, if the current owner of the town, for example, was my childhood friend, and as a bachelor, when I lived in one room in this year by here, he used to come and sleep on my bed. The current owner of so that will tell you about the Jonogoro. That will tell you the kind of sentimental attachment that I have, that we have to that place. We are from that local government, you know, and it's home. That's our home, and that explains sentiments to the place. That's where I attended my secondary school. Attended the ground school there. So part of my very beginnings, if you like.
Go to marketing communication and other related. Each time you touch them, each time you maybe you're invited to address them, what's the message that you keep sending across the country?
What we've talking about. Um, I read Joseph Edgar's thing yesterday in this day. Uh, Little did I know that the past 40 years, the boy has been saying, this man, I hope one day I'll be able to. Um, there are, there are, say, if I show you some messages, some of the messages I receive, people I don't know. Like they say in Yoruba land, um, the younger one know the elderly one don't know them and all that. I've been privileged to meet a lot of young people, either in the course of us working together or doing things together. And somehow, um, the takeaways is that, wow, there's a lot to learn from this man. Just like I also feel about certain people who are my role models. And I remember the first time I met Mr. Gamaliel Onosodi. You know, that day, actually, by accident, we had to go to his house on Adelabu Street. It was like, you know, the greatest thing happened to me that day. Look at a person like Dr. Christopher Colade. He was my boss in broadcasting, but not one you could see. It was just that or get one there. You had a boss. You couldn't go near him. So each time he came to to sit at the programs meeting which he conducted, he was the one that was in charge. It was like, oh my God, this man. And then we got to state that I could sit just as you know, he became my mentor, and I could say anything to him. So that's the way that a lot of people also feel. Um, and but the sad thing about the Nigeria of today is that there aren't too many role models anymore that you can really say, I wish I could be close to this man so he can advise me, he can mentor me, he can guide me. You know, I mean, it's not necessarily about work. Not everybody wants to do advertising. People want to do different things, but sit with them and they look at life through your own lenses. You guide them, you talk to them. This is how you do this is how you do this. Even in terms of behavior, in terms of mannerisms, in terms of how you conduct yourself. You know, um, Dr. Kolade worked at Cadbury. We never discussed marketing. I didn't discuss production with him. But each time I had the opportunity to sit down and I say, Ogamisa, I said, Biodun health, they were already. So I said, how do we do? How does one do? Just things like that. Just ordinary, simple things. You know, how do you relate to an elderly person? How do you relate to your colleague? I mean, so you run a company, for example, just like you run your business. You have people who work for you. How do you relate with them? There must be something, I'm saying to myself, there must be something that I have been doing or that have done. There's so many former staff, female, male, once working in the outdoor association of Nigeria. They want to do something to honor me. I've never operated in that sphere, but we own an outdoor company. People have worked there. Our former staff, they've gone, they have their own, and they're saying, the things this man will learn from him. I didn't work in that company, but I will go and hold meetings with them. They'll have a review meeting, usually a board meeting, and I go to that board meeting and I go around the office. Look, say, when I used to run inside, when I ran, and I ran inside for 25 years, let me tell you one of the things that I used to do. Nobody taught me. Every day, I'll go around the entire agency. Minimum, twice a day. And when I go around the agency, department, I will stop at each person's table and I look at what you're doing. And I'll ask you questions. And we'll chat. I could stay with you for 3 minutes. I could stay with you for 5 minutes. I could actually say, give me a chair and I sit with you and you're working on something. And I work for us to crack that problem. Every table, round the when we were in our communities, we were on 2.5 floors. And I will do those 2.5 floors. Right and left side, big building. I will stop at everybody's desk and offer advice, offer guidance, offer support. I was doing this innocently. Sometimes I did it thrice a day. Apart from doing my own job, I will go around to help my staff. We were trying to crack a client's problem, so we crack it together. In a sense, at least I give my input. Those kids, those are the things that they remember. And they say, this man is an unusual person. In the period in which I ran the company, Sheye, there was no staff. It didn't matter how junior you were. If you were doing anything, I will come there. It didn't matter where. It didn't matter how junior you were, whether you lost your father or you are doing wedding or you're doing, I will be there. It didn't matter. These people remember these things. I can't begin to go into so those are the kind of things when people say, oh, we want to, Mr. Shobanjo, some guy came, I was at a party the other day, some guy came and said, he runs his own practice, he's doing very well. He said, Mr. Shobanjo, can I tell you something? One of the greatest regrets I have is that I never worked. He said, the people who work with you, the stories they tell us, sometimes we feel it's too much. These guys are exaggerating. He said, but we found out that it's the truth. Because all of them say the same thing. So those are the things. So really, today, when I meet younger people in different professions, I find that they gravitate towards me. They want for us to exchange, just chat, discuss, whatever.